This week, December 31st through January 6th, Happy New Year. The sun is in gate 38 and the earth is in gate 39.
Yeah, this is another root one. We're going to move right up the root is what we do, and down the other side. This is a unique, both melancholic and incredibly vital and robust energy as an opposition, because it guarantees a unique individual way be pressured out of us. It's like you can't sit this one out. It's a game of life. You need your uniqueness, so please allow your internal freak to show up, because you are unique and you're different from everyone else. And this fights for that. And it provokes for the other one to understand.
Cool. So this week, as we can see on our mandala wheel, the sun is in gate 38. It's opposition, or the fighter. It's a root gate, as Danny was saying. And then the earth in gate 39, which is obstruction or provocation, also a root gate on the flip side.
Yep, doing their usual root work, which we're about to talk all about.
Absolutely. All right. So the sun in gate 38, this is opposition, or the gate of the fighter. This is the ability to preserve individual integrity through opposition to detrimental forces. It's a root gate, and it's part of individual circuitry. Individual, think empowerment, and it's part of the knowing circuit. It links up with gate 28, which is the gate of the great game player, and the 38-28 make up the channel of struggle. Gate 38 is the pressure to discover the value of one's own life. There must be a reason to exist, a purpose, and something to love. It's elevating the struggle beyond simply surviving, and it's backed by the energy to oppose. It's capable of confronting adversity. It can be perceived as fiercely independent, highly focused stubbornness to meet a challenge, even death, head on. It's the determination to persevere and the empowerment to discern which individuating struggles have value or not.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's an awful lot. Yeah, that was like a lot of mouthful there. This thing will be unique, and it won't always listen. It won't always listen because it's busy fighting for what 28 on the other side gives it, which is purpose. The actual purpose to put a certain amount of meaning making into life. And this will struggle for this. The struggle and this ability to be stubborn will never leave this gate, whether it's part of a channel or not. Even if it's just in an open center, it will always be pronounced in this person, at least one way, shape, or form. Even in the outer planets, it just won't matter. I love this gate because it fires up the motor process of what ultimately becomes the unique expression of now later in gate 20. That sounds funny, but becomes now later, but later in gate down the road in gate 20. And so in doing so, gate 20 as an individual process is so reliant on the fighter not sitting it out. The fighter can't sit it out, and when it does sit it out. It's just, again, another temporary self-imposed inaction, but it's fighting inside, and it's wondering what's it going to struggle for, move towards, what's it need to move out of its way. And with all of that going on, it's not always listening.
Fantastic. All right, moving on to gate 39, which the earth placement. Gate 39 is obstruction and provocation. This is the value of obstruction in provoking analysis, assessment, and reevaluation. It's also a root gate, part of individual circuitry. Individual, you think empowerment as the keynote, and it's part of the knowing circuit. Gate 39 links up with gate 55, which is abundance, and the 39-55 make up the channel of emoting. Gate 39 is the pressure to provoke the evolving emotional awareness of spirit into revealing itself. So the energy to persevere through your moods and tap into spirit awareness. It's provocation that reveals whose spirit is correct for you.
This spirit awareness that it is provoking is given its first real initial set of guidelines from gate 10. That was informed this whole process just 2 gates ago, in this movement in the wheel. And the spirit is My love of things is full. I feel good. My love of things is not full. So I don't feel full. I feel empty. And 39 is basically, in a sense, struggling like 38 to basically provoke the right reaction to find out if that's true, because it can't know on its own. It needs empowerment from the other, and it needs to empower the other, which is the keynote of this circuitry. So it also comes with a profound melancholy. And when you add melancholy to root pressure, it's pressurized melancholy. And in this gate, you also add it to an emotional wave. It's pressurized melancholy in an emotional wave. That's a lot of juice, right? That's a lot of juice. A lot of things will come out of this channel when it's all filled in, and even this gate. Not so much in an open center, it would be much lessened, but it's still there. And a lot of things will come out of this. You're not in the mood, not in the mood, not in the mood to eat, not in the mood to do this, not in the mood to do that. The provocation starts with inaction. It's like, dude, come on, what's going on? Nope. With my lips. It's just an inaction. And that's a provocation all by itself. How come you didn't answer the phone? Inaction. And that's a provocation. And it's looking for the right spirit on the other side. And that spirit has everything to do with romance and love and personalness and closeness. After all, it's looking to empower itself into gate 12 at the end of this stream. And we did that again. That was just 3 gates ago. There's a lot of close action in this part of the wheel now that I look at it. And it's trying to get to gate 12 to finally know it can have a personally, in a way, romantic enough, individual enough um, connection that feels empowering back and forth. And it can't do it from a place of I don't love myself. That's all I know. I mean, I know that for something that's certain. So don't forget to love yourself, folks.
Absolutely. All right, next up, we have the Incarnation Crosses for the week. So first up, we have the right angle cross of tension. This is people with creative depth who understand that life is a struggle, yet know that struggle provokes spirit and purpose makes it worthwhile. Then we'll move into the juxtaposition cross of opposition. This is individuals with adrenalized energy who intuitively provoke or oppose or shock you into substantiating and explaining your claim or opinion. And then finally, we'll move into the left angle cross of individualism. These are pure individuals who have to keep mutating and keep becoming themselves, which in turn shocks, creating tension and provokes change in you.
Well, and this individualism is just so unique. And the thing is, it is the ultimate expression of the right angle cross of tension. It is tense just being uniquely yourself. It's such a rare place that even fits in,
Mhm.
you know? So if you think about it, people with this creative depth, the creative depth is this uniqueness that is inside of the knowing circuit, which is the individual circuitry, right? And the melancholy that comes with it guarantees intelligence about yourself. So, I mean, think about that. I don't know if I love me. I know I like to be joyous. Am I intelligent enough to know that I love myself? That's what we just went through in the wheel. And that's what this is coming up with an answer. Basically, it's looking back and saying, yeah, guys, I know what you're asking of me. I know what you're asking of me. Don't worry, I'm on it. I'm fighting for it. I'm coming out of an energy center, and I will provoke the crap out of whatever it needs to take to finally do what the circuitry demands to know, the knowing circuit. And so if you're ever looking at human design keynotes and you wonder how profoundly, meaningful is the simple word of like knowing circuit or, support for this tribal things, these one word things are incredible. They fill in everything else, and it does need to know, and if it doesn't know, the struggle will continue, in spades. Mm.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I can never tell when I'm done, but it just seems to be, get done.
Uh-huh. Perfect. All right. Finally, we have the hexagrams for this week. The sun in gate 38, which is opposition, and it's fire over lake. And the I Ching, it reads hexagram 38, opposing. And the image reads, fire above, lake below, opposing. A noble one both harmonizes and separates. The elements of this situation are fire and water. You can't blend them together into a compromise, but kept safely apart, they create harmony. The sun sparkles on the lake. The light of awareness shines on the inner currents of emotion. A noble one lives with opposition, simply by understanding what harmonizes and what is to be held apart.
This holding apart of the fire and the rain, I know it says lake, but but the fire and the water, essentially holding these things apart, is a struggle all by itself. And this opposition, by the way, it's not opposition to common sense necessarily. It's not opposition to any one thing. It's opposition to anything that's not itself in the moment, in the now. Because anything else coming in might take this fighter off of its game. And so let this fighter juggle the fire and the lake, because it's part of their struggle and it keeps them sharp and frosty.
Perfect.
I see it.
Yeah. Moving on to the Earth in gate 39, which is provocation. In the I Ching, it reads hexagram 39, limping. And yeah, I know, it's a kind of a funny one. So the image reads, above the mountain there is water, limping. A noble one turns himself around to renew his character. The path ahead is hard and dangerous, and it is time to find another way. The clouds that rise above the mountain become the stream flowing down it. It changes course lightly and easily, naturally finding a path of least resistance, always in motion. Embodying the qualities of mountain and stream, the noble one will join the firmness of his inner resolve with fluid commitment, renewing his strength of character by turning his whole self around.
That strength of character that the I Ching refers to is the strength of knowing, listen, if you have to provoke something, that can get tiring. Maybe you'd rather just run away. But the strength comes up and says, no, but I do this naturally. I'm going to do it anyway. And it's the only way. It ends up finding the right spirit to mingle with. This is a great big romance between this 39 and the 38, and then between these two respective gates and their polarities on the other side, the 28 and the 55. And so the two channels that they make, if you look at it on the body graph just by themselves, it appears as if it's smiling at you. This particular opposition, it makes the body graph essentially smile at you.
That's so cute.
And I've always found that adorable, because it basically matches with these descriptions you were just reading when you sort of see through what the noble one's supposed to be doing. The noble one has to do a lot of work to keep that provocation going, and or to not do it. Either way, it's going to be so much for this person, because although it's not an emotional process, it knows there's one on the other end. Is the thing. It knows that it won't be, it would like to fulfill its rest of its journey and get to the spirit of the thing in the first place, of abundance, really, the spirit of feeling abundant.
Beautiful. I love it. All right. So tying it together for our audience.
Yeah, what to expect this week and what to do. There's going to be a lot of stubborn energy this week. Yeah. Suddenly you're going to just kick your heels in. You know what I mean? Just witness that it happens. Mm-hmm. If you do that, you probably needed to do it a long time ago. Think about that for a moment, because there's lots of things that we just don't let ourselves be, that are us, that are our truth. And this is a great opposition to have in the sky for a week, to say, a little under a week, to tell you, provoke that thing, pick up the stick and poke the bear, literally, because dig your heels in a little bit, get fickle, don't get fickle, just see yourself in these ways. Hey, don't listen to the other for a minute, not disregard them, not ignore them. You're not required to listen to every word. And right, it's our life. You can't tell me, right? We have rights here. And so I have rights, damn it. Right. And we all have rights. We have the right to never have our design held against us. I can tell you that much. That's an inalienable right we all need to give ourselves. let yourself feel a little bit stubborn and be that inalienable right to yourself that says, maybe I do need to dig my heels in a little bit. Maybe I need to come out swinging with this thing. The swinging isn't with your fist, by the way, or rarely it is. It's really just with your attitude. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to move it forward. It wants to pulse out a creative new way. It wants to fight that and get that out into the world. So it needs to dig its heels in as it relates to other things because of that.
Fascinating.
Mm.
Interesting. I find it super fascinating that the energy around New Year's Eve is the 38 and the 39, which is the
Oh, that's so
season.
funny. You're right.
I know. What's also very funny is the flip of that when it's going to be the 39 and the 38 is the 4th of July.
Right. That's true.
I
Look
love
at
the
that.
energetics of holidays. So anyway, so with New Year's Eve, that you can feel this fighty provocational energy. If you go out on New Year's Eve, be very careful. Be careful driving. Don't drink and drive. Make smart choices. Make good choices. But
Right.
it's very interesting. I find there's always like a lot of pressure of New Year's Eve. It's got to be this big thing and it's got to be perfect. And you got to have the kiss on the New Year's and the midnight, right? And it's fighty, it's provocational, especially
And wicked is, dude. It's got to be perfect. What am I supposed to do? What's my New Year's resolution?
it's
We're
all that
struggling all over the place.
yeah. And I find that it's very fascinating, and being able to just recognize or just witness the pressure so you don't get lost in it. Again, be careful driving, be careful with all your choices on New Year's Eve and everything. But yeah, being able to, how do we use it wisely, right? And so if the earth is in gate 39, grounding ourselves in what is poking at us, what is poking at our spirit to look toward abundance, right? What's kind of getting us a little like on the side, you're like, oh, okay, fine. Where can I
Right.
align with that abundance? And then on the flip side with the sun, it's what's worth fighting for, like really, both in a reflection of the past year, right? As we're coming to the end of the year and everything, what in the past year has been worth fighting for, and what is going to be worth fighting for in the new year to come, right? What is actually poking at you to kind of get you going and ready to like, hey, all right, let's get into it. I find that very beautiful and very interesting, and using that energy in being able to witness it first, and then being able to like use it in a wise way to set yourself up for the coming year as we're getting closer. It's going to be the standard Gregorian calendar New Year, but the human design New Year doesn't begin until like the third-ish week of January.
Yep.
So hold off on those resolutions, at least if you want to follow the human
If you
design
want
New
to
Year.
do it the right way,
Yeah, we have that
don't mind
video.
saying it.
Yeah, we have that video coming. I will link it in the places where we can link videos on here in the description and in the little corner and everything. But explaining the energetics of the new year and why maybe it's a good idea to hold off on those resolutions a little bit longer, where it'll realign itself a bit better later on.
It will. Yeah, we got some good stuff for you. I
Yeah,
can't
I'm
wait to
really
pour it
excited
out.
about that episode.
And
But
the two vessels of love are going to pour it on you, so you'll get it good. Don't you worry.
I know. So we'll get to that episode, but let's tie up this one in a neat little bow. Yeah, see what's kind of poking at you. See, do that reflection of what was worth fighting for and going forward in the new year. Be in that energy. Be careful. Don't actually get into physical fights. Try to avoid that. Be careful driving. Have a happy and safe new year. And, don't get lost in the pressure too much. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just have fun and be safe. And, let that pressure kind of flow through you.
Let your uniqueness out with this particular opposition. Let yourself just have that pressure that assuages itself as you allow yourself to just be unique, because that's ultimately going to be your ultimate provocation, and it ultimately leads to the road of exactly what's fighting for. And you'll find that as soon as you dig your heels in enough to not let something else influence you away from that, even if it's just for a few hours, you'll see it.
Perfect. To all our audience, all our viewers, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Leave a comment. Let us know. Are you feeling these energies? Are you playing with them? You got any questions or comments? Let us know. We love to hear from you, and have a happy and safe new year. And we'll see you next week and next year, huh?
The struggle goes on.
In the best way.
In the best way. Yep. See you guys later.
See ya. Happy New Year. Bye.